Welcome to Teem Sports Entertainment, the podcast. I am your host, Earl Teema, alongside my co-host, my unc, Alan Teema. But before we go any further, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment below. Most importantly, hit the notification bell. That's very important. That's the way that you know when we're posting new content, all right? So hit the notification bell. NBA season is here. We're getting right to it. NBA season is here. Starting when? Tuesday. Listen, man, I'm overly excited. What about you?
Excitement is not the word.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the Western Conf.
We're going out west, baby.
Yeah.
Out west. Yes. A lot of things have changed in the West.
The Powerhouse West.
Powerhouse West?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
All right. Which team are you, get right to it. Which team are you most excited about?
Of course. I'm a LeBron James fan, which is relatively made me a Lakers fan, and I really like the organization.
Yeah.
Right? So we have the Lakers, and I'm very excited about them this year. I've never seen a LeBron James-led team with this much talent.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about it. Really excited about the Lakers. They have some new pieces. Trez, Schroeder, Gasol. That's huge. But the sleeper.
Who's the sleeper, man?
Talen Horton Tucker. I've been raving about him.
Chicago's own, huh?
Yes.
Where you go to Iowa State?
Iowa State.
Yeah.
Yes. Came in under the radar. Little injury last year. Played in the G League. And it sounds crazy, and that we're even mentioning him, but I believe what he's going to bring to this table to this team is something unique, very unique. This kid is 6'4", with a 7'1" wingspan. You add that and we're mentioning him and how he has played, and even the coaches in LA and players been raving about him, and it's still hard to find time for him.
Yeah. That's a luxury though, right?
Yeah. Forgot about you didn't even mention Green's back up now. That Green is gone. And Wesley Matthews over there. His defense, I like his defense. He has some. He's not that consistent from three, but I like the energy that he brings. He brings a lot of energy to the Lakers to go along with. I mean, come on, you got LeBron and AD. You got LeBron and AD over there. So, I mean, how can you not be excited about this season for the Lakers, especially for those Laker fans? I know that they already flying high off the chip. You know what I mean? And now they come back and then got better. I believe they got better. Kuzma is a big up and down, contract year, and that could be a plus or a negative. We don't know if he try to do too much. I don't think he need to do. Just need to let the game come to him and be patient. I think he'll be good. So I'm real excited about the Lakers, of course. Yes.
So you mentioned the Lakers, all right? So the idea is we're gonna give our top five, right? The Western Conference, and then we'll do like some honorable mentions, some teams, some sleepers. So you mentioned the Lakers. You did a little breakdown with them. Excited about Talen. Cools you're on the fence about, but things can turn around. Being around some solidified leaders, I think this should be a year where he turns out to be what we think he should be, not necessarily who he think he is. You know what I mean? Right. So we have the Lakers. So do you have them as the number one seed or
number one?
Number one seed. All right. Yeah. So we start with the Lakers. You got them number one. Give me four more. All right. So what's the next team? It doesn't have to be in order, but just top five.
I'm giving you my top five in the order that I think.
All right.
And I believe that it's Denver next.
Nuggets, all right.
Then I got
What about Denver? What intrigues you about Denver?
Did you watch them in the bubble?
No doubt.
I mean, you can't count a team out. And they're young, man. That run they made last year was huge. They came back from 3-1 from a tough Utah squad, right? Then they came back from 3-1 from them dogs that everybody said. The dogs. Oh, you don't know who the dogs are?
No. I'm familiar with them. Yeah, who that?
It just so happened that the dog catcher caught the Venus one, I guess, last year. I don't know. But the Clippers,
all right.
That was a 3-1 deficit. I mean, they came back from, and you can't count that. Can't say it's luck. can't say them boys came to play.
All right. So based on what you've seen thus far, right? Because that's last season, and each season is unique, right?
Right.
So sometimes you'll have, aspirations, or you see a team playing much better than they did previously, and it doesn't pan out that way. So obviously, you've seen something in the preseason, right? What are you most excited about as far as them going forward, outside of their youth, to get them to the next step? Because they did go to the conference finals.
Yes, and I don't follow them like that. So their rosters, but there's a player, shooting guard, that didn't play last year, was hurt. What's his name? Oh my God, he's back this year, and that's how deep they are, that we didn't even realize that he was missing. So he's back, but they lose Jeremy Grant. Look that up for me.
I got you.
All
right? We're not gonna just skate over that.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant went out east.
Yeah.
Detroit Pistons. He played big in the bubble, because you mentioned the bubble.
Right.
He played huge against the Lakers and the Clippers defensively.
Right. But they also, being that they lost him, I would be worried about that. But to me, they picked up a real dog. Jermichael Green.
From the Dogs.
From the Dogs.
Okay.
Right. But he was limited because they kept putting him on the chain over there in the Clippers. And I think that was one of them. They should have released him a little bit more in the bubble, because he did come to play. When he was on the floor, if you look that up, he played very, very well for them, Jermichael Green. And I think he should have played more. And now he left Clippers, and now he's in Denver.
No doubt.
So he hits the open shots. He played defense, and he bring that toughness and that they need, you know. So they lost pieces with him, with losing what's his name to Detroit? Jeremy Grant to Detroit. But Jermichael Green was a great pickup. And then they also re-signed old man from Atlanta. You didn't like him last year. You felt he's getting a little old, but I like him. Power forward.
From Atlanta?
Came from Atlanta. Originally, that's where we know him from, Atlanta. How can you forget his name? As much as you.
You sure I disliked him? Because if I did, I would remember his name.
You said he looking old, but then that, to me, he woke up in the bubble from the twin over there in Detroit.
Oh, you talking about? Oh, of course. Oh, Atlanta and Utah, Mr. Millsap.
Yeah. Millsap, they re-signed him. That was big. His veteran leadership. Mm-hmm. And I watched when they were down in that series, 3-1. What woke Denver up was the simple fact of the twin over there,
Mr.
Morris. He tried to get physical.
Yeah,
bully ball him. He let him know, no, listen, we're not having this. And that woke him up. And he came out in that second half, and that woke that Denver team up, and they never turned around. So, having leaders like that and veteran leadership like that with a young team like that, that was a big re-signing.
Yeah.
Getting Millsap back. And they're another one of those young teams where they don't need to sign a bunch of new players, because they're so young that they only get better each year.
No doubt. And they got quality coaching as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you got the Joker over there who arguably the best center in the league.
Yeah. I would go with Embiid, but
by potential, but
yeah.
I mean, as far as when it comes time to play,
no doubt.
The Joker. They calling them the Joker for a reason. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So Denver, I'm excited about them too again this year.
All right, so you mentioned we got the Lakers. We can talk about them forever. You know what I mean?
Yes, we can.
You got Denver. You have them as a second seed. Once again, we're gonna hold you to that.
Yeah.
That's your second seed in the West. Now we transition into who? Because you big on Denver because of their promise and the youth.
Yeah.
But who's number 3 team?
Dallas.
Say it a little louder for me.
Dallas.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I can agree with that. Dallas is looking good, man.
Yes.
They were right there, because most people talk about Denver beating the Clippers. Had KP not gotten hurt, maybe the Clippers, or the Dogs, as you like to call them, would have gone home in the first round, and it would have been a whole different other narrative.
Even before he got hurt, if he wouldn't have got ejected
game one,
from that game, they would have won that game.
No doubt. Great point. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So we know who Luka is. A lot of people have him winning the MVP this year, and I can't even argue with that. The kid is a monster. Yeah. But outside of that, you have Josh Richardson is now over there from Philly.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a great pickup.
Yeah.
His on-ball defense, the pressure that he could apply is great, and he can also take the ball off of when John Trick is out of the game. He can also run some point for you and lead the team into their offense. I like that. I really like that, especially with me being so big on defense.
Yeah.
I like him. I liked him in Philly. I just believe that it didn't work the way it should have because of coaching. That's just how I felt.
I can agree with that. And his promise in Miami was
And he's going to be more disciplined playing in Dallas because
Rick Carlisle,
he doesn't play, and he gets the best out of players that can be coached.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yes. I mean, I think he's solid.
Yeah.
He's solid, and each year he gets better to me.
Yeah.
You know, he's solid, a solid shooting guard. But the sleeper over there, a sleeper signing that nobody really paying attention to, is James Johnson. James Johnson in Dallas is huge.
Toughness.
Yes. He can handle the ball. He can shoot. He can create for himself, and he can create for others. He's a playmaker. And now you just don't have Luka, the only playmaker over there on the team.
Yeah. All right, Dallas, man. You didn't mention Trey Burke.
No.
Yeah, that's a solid backup as well.
He played well for them in the bubble. Yeah.
So Dallas, number 3 team. They have great coaches. Yeah.
Stein.
Oh, Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah.
See, that's a perfect fit for him. That team.
Yeah. He was there last year. He had got traded there last year, but he didn't go with them to the bubble. I got to look that up because if he was, he didn't. No, he wasn't in the bubble. Yeah. He didn't go. He chose not to go to the bubble.
And the season makes a difference.
Yeah.
The camaraderie, chemistry, So.
And he's becoming a stretch center.
I don't want to see that.
I'm watching him here. He's banging him. And that's all that matters. Whether you want to see it, you don't want to see it from people who shooting 30% and below from 3-point range. Yeah. But I think he's gonna shoot mid range in the threes, and that's not bad, man.
You to give KP some spacing.
Give some more spacing for
great passer.
Yeah, exactly. So Dallas, I got them right there, man.
Top 3, all right.
Yeah.
Obviously, they playing the Lakers on Christmas Day, prime time. We'll get to that at a later time. But Dallas, number 3, I can't even argue with that as well. They're no longer a sleeper. Your top 3, they need to be making some noise. You know what I mean?
Well, top 5 shouldn't be sleepers because this is the West and they're deep and everybody should be contenders. Yeah. So this next one is past history would say no, but this year is definitely a sleeper. 4th, I have the Houston Rockets still right there. And it don't make a difference what happens with Harden. Whether he stays or been getting traded away, I still have them in that position.
That's an interesting point because so you're basing it on the fact that obviously Harden's a talent, but if they lose Harden, you have to get something similar or pretty close to it, right? Something pretty close to it, right? So when those players come over, you think they're going to fill the void and keep them at the top 4? Because you said
the pick that they get pick up
early on, you said the West is a powerhouse.
Yes.
If you lose James Harden, let's say, for instance, hypothetically, right? They did a deal with, let's say, Brooklyn, right? Because that was publicized, and they got maybe Dinwiddie and probably LeVert and maybe some cash in the draft pick. That would still leave them top 4 in your eyes?
See, this is so scary and which is so intriguing is this. The only reason why I have them down at 4 is because I don't know what Harden is doing. If Harden came focused and ready to buy in to the coach and what the coach have him to do, because I believe that this coach is a great coach. He ran the offense. He was the offensive coach in Dallas for Luka last year, and their offense was one of the top of the league. And so now you have him as the head coach. I believe that if Harden buy in and allow the coach to teach him how to play off ball and still be effective, then that changes the whole dynamic of them even being fourth. Denver and Dallas, it's possible that they can jump all the way up there. The reason why I have them at 4 is the unknowing what's going to happen with Harden. Because even if he buys in, that could move them up. If they trade him, the pieces that they're going to get for him could possibly move them up. So Houston at 4 is very deceiving, period. But I am not counting them out. You still got Tucker over there. Then Christian Wood, man. Very underrated.
Speak about him a little bit.
I can't even say underrated because he's unknown.
In Detroit, I was going to say that. Most people didn't get a chance to see him play unless you have league pass or something like that. Yeah. And last year was kind of a coming out party for him.
Right.
Because prior to that, it was based off promise and potential.
Yeah.
So him being over there now adds some size to their team because it's night and day from last season.
Size, shooting, he make plays.
Toughness.
And the way he's built, you wouldn't even think that I watch him on the post. I watch him on the perimeter. He can put the ball on the floor and everything. And he can also keep the floor spreaded for Harden.
Well, I'm going to start a little bit of controversy right now because off the air, you compared him to who?
Anthony Davis. He's a young Anthony Davis who, of course, I'm not saying he's Anthony Davis now, but we remember Anthony Davis came in the league. He's young. And watching him, he has a lot of the same skills. And to me, he's a little more athletic than what Anthony Davis is. And he finishes at the basket now. Early on in Anthony Davis' career, he wasn't finishing at the basket at the rate that I watch Woods do it. Woods is a star, man. And actually, when he was a free agent, I talked to you about this. When he was a free agent, unknown, I wanted the Lakers to go get him. Because I didn't think that he would be... I knew that he would be a star. I didn't think that there was going to be a team that's going to give him the contract that Houston gave him. And
they got him on a cheap.
For now.
Yeah, compared to what other players got in the offseason.
Well, they got him on a cheap, but that's only based on the fact that he was an unknown. And he came on in Detroit after they traded Drummond.
Gotcha.
So then it looks like he's a player that gets stats on a bad team, but I believe that he's the real deal.
You're making a bona fide argument. I don't think I'm rolling as of yet, but I think they'll make the playoffs for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they made some key moves. Whether it's John Wall. I was about to mention that John Wall. We don't know. It's been 2 years,
but I watch his movement. Over there in the preseason. Yeah. I watched it, and I know it's just preseason, but when you're watching carefully, you're just looking for how he moves around. You're not looking for as far as they can win games. We know what Wall was, and if he can get back to at least 90% of what Wall is as far as his play, I'm not talking about decision-making or confidence. I think he's overconfident at times. Yeah. But during the preseason, I'm watching him. He's more doing what he does as far as being a facilitator. Yeah. And that's the thing. As long as he buys in with the coach, because I don't believe if I believe that they want to take the ball out of Harden's hands as much, it would
Shout out to Coach Silas for that.
It would be crazy to take the ball out Harden's hands, but all that pounding every play
off the ball.
Yeah. Now, but Wall also has a habit of pounding the ball.
I think Wall issue is, and we'll move on after this to the next team. Wall, he needs spacing, and I think they have shooters at every position that can provide that. A lot of times he over dribbles because they pack in the middle, and he had one bona fide shooter in Washington. Yeah. But I think it's going to work out in his favor in Houston. I don't know what the Achilles. I'm just speaking on what we know him to be and what he can be. Yeah. But Harden, as you stated, has to play off the ball in some degree, or they just can't play together because Wall isn't Chris Paul who can make that adjustment.
Right. So they don't really need a backup point guard because one
valid.
of them come out the game. That's perfect.
Stagger the minutes, yeah.
And during the time that they're both in the game together is the time when Harden needs. There's never a time when they're on the floor together that Wall should be playing off the ball. That's not that type of scorer or shooter. Well, we don't know. Has he developed that? But in the meanwhile, from what we know, Harden should be playing off the ball when he's in the game with Wall. Wall will find him.
Yeah, that's an intriguing argument right there.
And
so
make
we have
the game easier for him.
Lakers, Denver, Dallas, Houston, top 4. I repeat, Houston, top 4. My Uncle Alan Teem, I mentioned right here, Teem Sports Entertainment Podcast. He's big on Houston, top 4. Who do you have top 5 or the 5th spot?
Portland, Dame Dolla, baby. Yes.
All right. They picked up, they re-signed Melo, and Hood is coming back. I'm not sure when because he's coming off an Achilles. They picked up the young man from Miami.
Covington. Oh, from Miami.
Oh, they do have Covington.
They got Covington, man. And
Covington,
that's
defender.
I'm big on defenders. You're going to constantly hear me talk about that. And he's a shooter. Mm-hmm. He shoots, and he knows how to play in a system.
Is Ariza still there?
No.
Okay.
No, Ariza is actually
OKC.
in OKC,
yes.
And I think he's going to get bought out.
All right, that'll be a big pickup for someone going forward. So why are you so huge on Portland outside of Dame Dolla? Because do you think in the long run that the backcourt is going to work, him and McCollum?
Of course.
They're talented for real. Like, they get busy. But
I think it worked for them all along. And they needed better wing defenders, and that's what Covington brings, right? And then toughness.
Yeah.
And
he can actually defend his position as opposed to Houston when he defending.
What's the
force.
big name?
Nurkic.
Yeah. Remember, he was just getting back round right when we went into the bubble. Mm-hmm. He was getting back, so now he's able to come in another full. He made it through there without any injuries. Now he's coming back, right? He's coming back again. I'm telling you, that's gonna make them better. But it was another. What's the power forward?
Enes Kanter, ladies and gentlemen.
No, that's the center. Kid was hurt. He didn't go to the bubble with them last year. He was hurt last season. It was huge. What's his name?
So excited you forgetting names?
Oh, I mean, so many names. But these are not star players, but they play their role well. We'll get back to him. But Kanter is there.
Should have never left.
And they picked up some more shooters. Guys are veterans, and you just never can count Portland out. A healthy Portland squad out. Yeah. You can't count them out. And so I got them there for that 5th spot. And it's crazy because I still haven't mentioned a lot of teams.
Portland at 5. Yeah, I can agree with that somewhat because they should have been top 4 or 5 last year, barring any injuries. You know what I mean? They were just banged up the entire year.
But you saw when they got in the bubble.
Yeah, it was hell to pay for everyone.
They just fell into the fact they had to play the Lakers in the first round.
Yeah.
So. And
they were playing playoff games the entire time they were there.
They was burnt out by the time they got to the Lakers.
Not to say that it would have mattered, but it definitely they wore down towards the end of the bubble. So you got Portland, Dallas. What are we missing? Denver, the Lakers,
I'm not
Houston.
Missing anybody? I got the Clippers next.
Most people would say you're bugging right now.
I know they would.
What is it about Portland? We're going to compare Portland and Clippers at this particular time because you have Portland in your top 5, right?
Leadership.
Oh, you already know where I'm going with it. Okay.
There it is.
Yeah. So you don't believe that the Clippers, obviously they're going to make the playoffs, but the way they went out last year, they won't be more focused, more leadership on Kawhi's part, PG playing his role.
You can't make somebody that's not a leader a leader.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not that simple. I always say, to be a leader, you have to learn to be a follower. If you can't follow Popovich.
That's a valid point.
And at the time, a lot of people looked at Popovich as he was the problem. But last year should determine and let us know exactly why Pop not dealing with that kind of stuff. Special treatment and all this late to you determine whether we practice or not. The team is being investigated on even how they got this dude. You know what I mean? And so we talking about leadership. To me, no. And Pandemic P, how can I have any faith in that? He does a lot of talking this year. He's really focused. He got a new contract. He got all of that. But this the same dude that says that he always wanted to play for the Clippers, forgetting that there's tapes out saying that he was a Laker fan all his life. So, I mean, can you believe anything that this dude say? And we talking about leadership now. Mm-hmm. And now then last year, one of the major dogs is what's the little dragon name?
Pat Bev.
Pat Bev running around like Westbrook said, just making a bunch of noise, looking active like he's doing something. He ain't really doing nothing. Last year, okay, they really let him off the chain. He all up in people's faces and getting away. The league, the refs allowing him to do all kind of stuff, but that dog been tamed. That dog been tamed, and I mean, since you mentioned comparing Clippers and Portland,
this is what we want.
You gotta remember that they laughing at Dame and all that about going home, and they didn't realize they're going right behind them.
Yeah, going
home again. And mind you, Dame sent most of them dudes home his whole career. You know what I mean? From Pandemic P, waved them by, all these guys. So now, here we are. This dude is tame. Not only just tame to the point where now everybody know he's just making a bunch of noise. Screaming around, walking around like a little bulldog. You know what I mean? Yeah. But this bulldog don't got no teeth. That's the whole thing. They can lock down. A pit bull will lock down on you. And once they lock their jaws, there's nothing you can do. You come find out this pit bull don't even got no teeth. So, I mean, and not only the point that he ain't got no teeth, but his owner is looking to trade him. But they can't because they done gave him a bad contract for a dude that just make a bunch of noise.
So pretty much, from what I'm getting from this, they just fill on the spot because they're no longer title contenders in the West, based on what you're saying.
To me, no. Last year, I've been saying the whole time that they're overrated, and everybody bigged them up and crowned them king. Kawhi did the same thing in his commercials and all that. You ain't seen that commercial in a while?
It's been a long time.
That's exactly how I feel about the Clippers. As fast as that commercial of him being the king of LA has disappeared, that's how I see them disappearing this season.
No doubt.
Out of the top.
And you're going to die on that hill, right?
And the thing about it is, we already know they fold under pressure.
Yeah.
So when things do go bad, what's pulling them together? Ty Lue? Ty Lue was there last year.
You're right. Yeah.
So, I mean, Clippers, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I wasn't wrong last year.
No doubt. And I can agree with that because last year I didn't see them coming out of the West. You know what I mean? Even with all the hype and things. If you watch the games, you know when teams in regular season like Bron and them, they're just pacing themselves. And other teams are viewing it as a playoff game. He's just dissecting to see your weaknesses, what I'm going to exploit later on in the postseason. But it never happened. And now, as a year later, Trez is gone. Lou Will is a year older, and Trez was his 1-2 punch right there. So
it's a divide still in the team, and they want to get that. They want to, and that's the thing. When they had the Clippers and all this dog talk that they was talking about, they got the dogs. All the dogs is put on chains now because of these two stars, Pandemic P and load management Kawhi. You know what I mean? And the dogs is upset because they're getting special treatment. They're in cages looking for meals, and the only ones getting meals is Pandemic P and Kawhi, the new stars that came in to play to help the dogs. The dogs is on the look like everybody forgot about what that team was built on, and now the Trez was one of the major dogs that they talked about. He's gone. You done tamed the little pit bull. He's over there and with nothing, and I just saw a report. Whether I know it's a rumor, but that they're in talk with Golden State for Lou. But what would you get back in return? That Golden State was willing to give up to get Lou Williams, who's a scorer but doesn't play defense.
Wow. Yeah. A lot can happen in a year, man. A lot can definitely happen in a year. All right, so the Clippers, the 5th seed, right? Mm-hmm. Who's in that 6th seed? Because this is where we get into sleeper territory. Because you just don't know. There's a lot of teams that made moves.
No, I was actually being nice with the Clippers because it sounds ironic than to even have them even lower than what I have them. But I'm not. You're ready to call Utah a sleeper?
No, they
we still haven't mentioned them, and that's who I have next. Utah, and that's with me just basically going by, kind of favorites, and then the politics of keeping Clippers there so that people won't think that I'm just straight up a hater. I don't like the Clippers. Yes, I don't like them, but I'm gotta be biased here because we're picking not on basis of what we like, but potential. Mm-hmm. And Utah, listen, they was up 3-1 to Denver, just like the Clippers, and they lost it, and they had players hurt last year. Now they have a full roster. If they can get through there healthy, and by the way, Gobert just signed a $205 million extension. Yeah. So I don't think I think that I wouldn't have done that.
Well, you know why that was done. It's hard to get free agents in Utah. So if you got a little talent, you better hold on
to it. Yeah. And so they also got what's the name locked in too. So they got their big 2 right there.
Spider,
yeah, he's locked in. So yeah, Utah, I'm not gonna sleep on them. It's not an exciting team that you're gonna go and say you want to go home and watch them for me, but you can't never sleep on them.
The only issue I have with them, it's not an issue. It's just if this player could show up, and that's Mike Conley. Clarkson is coming along. Yeah. He's gotten much better.
Huge off the bench.
The game slowed down for him, but it's Mike Conley. Because at times they play better when he's not even available.
Well, that's because I think that the Spider plays better when he's running the offense at point. But with him at point is more of him scoring. Mm-hmm. So I think if they had a point guard, if Conley was being the Conley that we know that got him that max deal that he got, then that would be great for him to be taking over the ball. But when he's there, starting in that position, and Spider's playing off the ball, they're not the same team. Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
So I mean, I mention them because they always there. They produce. They get to the playoffs. They always around that 4th, 5th seed, and so I'm not counting them out of that again this year. No doubt. But there's a whole bunch of other teams. It is,
because we got to remember, as we stated before, it's the play-in. You know what I mean? Yeah. To get in the playoffs. Wait. So because we're going to 7, right?
The big unknown. No, we at 7 now.
Yeah, this is the 7th spot. Yeah.
The big unknown. And just imagine we didn't mention them, and that's the Warriors.
Say it again, man.
The Warriors come out and play.
Yeah, they.
Steph, I like the pickup of Oubre.
Big pickup.
I think that Draymond is gonna have a big season this year. I haven't seen the new pickup, the rookie they picked up, Wiseman. I haven't seen him yet, but if he's what they're saying he is.
But it's small additions too, like Bazemore. He fits them perfect. He knows his role.
What can Kerr get out of Wiggins?
That's the thing. Yeah. If he's willing to lock down, because he has the wingspan and athleticism to do it. I don't know if he has that fight in him. Because he's reaching that point in his career. It's like either maybe you are who you are at this particular moment. Because potential, maybe we thought he was something that he wasn't. Or the general consensus was that he was going to be a perennial all-star early on based on, his draft order. And
I mean, anything to me. I mean, because, okay, so you was drafted, but you was traded right away. So...
Yeah, but we know all that. Because it made
LeBron
sense.
Saw that he ain't all that in the first place.
It was after the chip, you know what I mean?
It was about winning, and and it shows perfectly. Because at one time I would say, well, Dad, if they had Wiggins instead of Love, well, they wouldn't. I mean, and I wasn't that big on Love production. And so to think that Wiggins would have gave more, no, I think it would have been worse.
All right.
Yeah.
And with that contract, it's gonna be hard to move him because you remember you gotta match the money.
Yeah.
So you got Warriors there. I can't even front on that, man, because early on, prior to Klay injury, everyone knew they was gonna be in the thick of things.
That's just a simple fact. I got them there, and because of the unknown, and the simple fact that these dudes been to the finals 5 straight years and won 3 of them. So they have that championship pedigree. Of course, they're missing Klay, who brings so much more to that team that ain't no one really. If you don't understand defense, that's not about Klay banging threes. The defense of multiple positions that he guards and covers up a lot of Steph's weaknesses. That's my big unknown. Who's gonna cover up Steph's weaknesses? Because as we saw last year, early on in the season, those guys were coming at Steph.
Yeah.
Steph's biggest blessing to me was his hand getting hurt, because they were coming at him, and people wanted to get back at him for all the embarrassment for those 5 consecutive years to the finals, how he would compete. But he's back.
But that fire is still gonna be lit.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So even it's disrespectful for me to put them where they are, but it's just too much of an unknown to throw them up there. And so this easily can change. That's what I'm saying. The powerhouse West, and it's a whole we mentioned him. Guess CP3 is in Phoenix.
Yeah. So that will lead you to number 8.
No, that Warriors right now. I don't have an 8. I mentioned Warriors
you just mentioned the
first
sleepers
because the unknown.
Okay.
But you still got Phoenix.
Yeah.
Not only just Phoenix, you got the Pelicans and Memphis.
All right.
I can't count them out. I can't.
Yeah, the West is looking interesting, man. Yeah, because that top 3 is that you mentioned.
Yeah. Which can easily change too.
They can.
Yeah. So I'm not so keen on that order. I named it, and I did the best I could with what I believe, but that can be any kind of way, man. This is why this season is gonna be so exciting.
It is exciting, man. Like it is exciting because, like any other season, you just never know from the very beginning. It's a clean slate. Any team can say that they are a potential playoff team because records are 0-0. But I think this year is a little different, especially with the play-in. That format they did with the bubble, that 8th seed, that keeps a lot of other teams engaged, because sometimes you take your foot off the gas when you're no longer, you start playing role players, see what you got for next season. But now you're still in there if you can stay within 3.5 games, I believe, right?
Yeah, that play-in is huge, and it keeps the league excited because teams fight always at the bottom. Yeah, but you fighting just to be able to reach in there, to be in there, and then just because you have the AC don't mean that you still got to play in to be in. That's gonna be Ooh, it was exciting in the bubble watching Phoenix, and last year without CP3 fighting go play 8 games in there and win all 8 and still don't make the playoffs. And this year they're coming back
with some leadership,
with some real leadership.
CP3, Jay Crowder over there.
Yeah, Jay Crowder. That's. Ooh.
Yeah, Monty Williams is a very underrated coach.
Sure could be back.
Stretch forward, yeah.
Yeah, and DeAndre, what Chris Paul is gonna bring out of that guy is unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. Mikal Bridges. Wow. I don't know.
The West is looking crazy, man. This whole season, I'm just excited about it all, man. I just can't wait. I really can't wait, man. So
a healthy Zion that's in shape. I don't know.
And their culture changed too with Van Gundy over there. So if anything, you gotta come with effort,
right?
And Steven Adams, some more leadership over there as well. So yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, so Western Conference.
Yeah, it's a lot of sleepers over there.
Yeah.
But you're sticking to your guns, the Lakers are number 1 seed.
That's my squad.
Denver.
Yeah.
Dallas is a sleeper at number 3. You know what I mean? Because people know who Luka is, but as a whole, a lot of people don't notice the changes that they made, the coaching that they have, and the fact that they were right there to send the Clippers home had any injuries not taken place. So now you're looking for them to take the next step. Then you have Houston
Rockets.
Houston. I like that analysis on
you
that.
You just call them no matter what. No matter what happens with Harden, I still believe that they're in that top 4.
Yeah. You got the Dogs. Well, the Clippers, right? You mentioned Utah. Yeah. They're always in the thick of things. Yeah. You know what I mean? Golden State, because remember, they weren't in the playoffs last year, so that's a potential spot taken away from someone else. And then you just have a bunch of teams that's just there. Memphis, Phoenix, and the Pelicans.
Yeah. Exciting.
Yeah, this is crazy, man.
Man, you better be hungry.
No doubt, man.
You better be hungry.
I'm excited, man. I know you are. Definitely tuning in Tuesday. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right, this is what we're doing here, man. Teem Sports Entertainment, the podcast. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Subscribe to the channel. Like the videos. Leave a comment. While I'm there, leave a comment below stating your top 8 teams in the Western Conference in order. And we'll be sure to reply back. We appreciate all the love. We're here. Oh, and why? And why? Yeah. Oh, why? Yeah, that's big. All right. Top 8 teams in the comment section and why. We'll engage. And we're looking forward to the season. NBA is back. Best time of the year. Teem Sports Entertainment, the podcast. I'm your host, Earl Teemer, alongside my co-host, my Alan Teemer. We appreciate y'all. NBA is back. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.